Who's that, Yid? Yeah, good, you? Good, you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Tonight, we're uncovering 6 of the most spine-chilling encounters ever caught on camera. These stories will have you thinking twice before ever setting foot in the woods alone again. Let's jump straight into the first unsettling encounter. The first video tonight comes from Straight Explorer, a UK-based solo paranormal camping and wilderness investigation channel focused on immersive overnight explorations of allegedly haunted forests and remote locations. It is April 24th, 2026, in Cannock Chase Forest, Staffordshire, United Kingdom. The investigation starts with isolation already built in. Night driving, rough access roads, and limited visibility establish the environment before he even reaches the forest itself. Nothing unusual happens yet, but the approach matters, because the location is being entered gradually, with fewer signs of civilization, the deeper he moves.
That there. Some more water. I swear I just heard something knocking on that tree. Hello?
He uses a drone to scout the woodland from above. The goal isn't just finding a campsite, it's finding separation. Dense tree cover, muddy access tracks, and isolated clearings become the priority. That's the shift. Because from this point onward, the setup is designed around complete isolation rather than convenience.
I need to remember the way out without going back down there. Well, I think what I'm going to do, and my mouth is so dry, I'm going to find somewhere suitable for us to pitch up. We're in the tent again, and yeah, I'll bring you back once I find somewhere. Some buzzards up there. Doubt you'll be able to see them. There's one just about there, and another one just dipped down beyond that tree. Right, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go find somewhere. I've finally found somewhere semi-suitable.
Camp is established beside a large fallen log. Once the tent is up, movement stops. That changes the dynamic completely, because now the environment isn't being traveled through, it's being stayed inside. And as darkness increases, the forest becomes quieter and harder to read.
There's a light there. Or was it just shining through the trees from the distance? I don't know. And now I feel a little bit weird all of a sudden, like something's going on. I'm going to try and get an EVP here, and then, as you know, from my last few videos, we've been getting good. What is that? I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. I keep seeing a light, but I'm pretty sure it's in the distance. Oh, shiver.
Awareness increases sharply. He reports feeling watched, with goosebumps persisting while sitting near camp. Possible movement is heard around the trees, not clear enough to confirm, but consistent enough to hold attention.
What the f***? I got chills. Oh my god, I have got chills.
The recording device appears to capture a voice response. What sounds like, "Can you see me?" The reaction is immediate, not because the audio is confirmed, but because it's interpreted as direct communication rather than background noise.
Oh god, I got such major goosebumps, they will not go away. Let me just put some more. Just got another word through.
Then proximity peaks. He reports hearing a whisper directly beside him. That causes immediate panic. Behavior changes instantly, with fear overriding the investigation itself. This one is driven by progression, isolation, then awareness, then perceived response, then proximity. Nothing is ever visually confirmed. Most of the tension comes from timing, interpretation, and repeated reactions to sound within the forest. And that's what defines it. Not a single event, but the gradual shift from exploring the environment to feeling surrounded by it. Before we move on, if you're enjoying the video so far, leaving a like really helps. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a good time. We recently passed 50,000 subscribers, and that's entirely because of you. The next target is 100,000 before the end of the year. Ambitious, but worth aiming for. There's a hidden word somewhere in this video. See if you can spot it. Now, let's continue. The next horrifying video comes from Man Dog Wild, a UK-based wilderness survival and bushcraft channel, following solo camping expeditions in remote forests and mountain regions. The content focuses on real-time outdoor survival, tarp shelters, and off-grid overnight stays, alongside the creator's dog. It is December 3rd, 2024, in a wilderness area.
Camp tonight, but it's not lightweight because of all the water and dog food. There's no sense of me laying down a sleep system right now because it's way too far away, and the sleep system we're using tonight, it's just, there's no point in laying it out this early because you just allow the bugs to crawl in, and we don't want that. So it's coffee time.
The setup is minimal from the start. Heavy gear, water, and dog supplies increase physical strain before camp is even established. After scouting the area, he selects an exposed overlook facing the forest and mountain range beyond. That matters because visibility is prioritized over shelter. The camp remains open to the surrounding terrain, with very little separation between the sleeping area and the environment around it. Then the first shift. A sudden sound breaks the quiet hillside. The dog reacts immediately. Alert posture, fixed attention, focus directed outward. That's the key detail, not the sound itself, but the behavioral change happening before anything is identified.
It's up there. Yeti. Oh, good. Oh, she's disappeared now. Cool. So we heard a noise and Yeti starts growling. And then she gets a little bark and then follow her over. And there was some eye shine at the top of the hill looking down at us.
Moments later, possible eye shine appears on higher ground. No shape is confirmed, no movement is clearly tracked, just reflection at distance, visible long enough to hold attention. The dog's response changes again. Instead of moving toward the disturbance, she redirects away from it. That creates uncertainty, because the behavior doesn't match normal curiosity or tracking instincts. It becomes avoidance instead.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was DC, because she knows this area pretty well now. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. But and Yeti's taken off, so maybe it is DC. But I think she would have approached. Maybe it was a fox. Don't see too many foxes.
Additional movement is heard across the hillside. Brush shifting, sticks breaking, subtle movement through the dark. Still no visual confirmation, but enough sound to suggest continued motion nearby. At this point, the situation stops feeling isolated, not because anything is seen, but because multiple signals begin overlapping. Sound, reaction, and possible visual reflection, all occurring within the same area. This one is driven by reaction rather than evidence. The sound, then the dog's behavior, then the eye shine, then movement through the hillside. Nothing develops into direct contact. Nothing is confirmed visually. But the tension holds because the environment never fully resolves. And that's what defines it. Not what may have been outside the camp, but how both the camper and the dog change behavior before anything can actually be identified. The next chilling video comes from Tyson Piers, an outdoor bushcraft creator focused on survival builds, campsite projects, and real-time wilderness challenges at his self-made TNT bushcraft camp. It is July 25th, 2020 in Canada.
The fence, so we brought these special tools today.
Is that a thunder?
I think so.
I think it's gonna rain. Oh, please, please God, if it rains,
Yo,
we can
if it
put our
rains,
bags
yeah,
under the shelter and we're gonna be all good.
The setup begins under extreme conditions before the storm even arrives. High heat, physical work, and open exposure already place pressure on the environment. While preparing the fence build, distant thunder starts forming in the background. At first, it's treated as manageable. Possible rain, nothing more. But the shift happens quickly. Rain intensity increases within minutes, temperature drops sharply, and the environment changes faster than expected. That's the key detail. Not just the storm itself, but how little transition there is between stable conditions and unstable ones.
That's a big thunderstorm, bro.
yeah.
I don't think it's safe.
I think we should probably leave.
At this point, I think there's a tornado. Oh shit!
Holy fuck!
Oh shit!
Yo!
I think there's a tornado.
Yo, you should have seen those trees just moving around.
Wind becomes the dominant factor. Trees begin reacting violently, with branches snapping nearby. At this stage, the storm stops feeling distant. The environment is now actively breaking around them.
That was not expecting for today. Nope. I think my shelter's gonna break.
Yo, if it does.
Oh! Holy shit!
Oh my god!
What the fuck?
Yo, this is unreal! Oh my god! Yo!
Rainfall overwhelms the ground rapidly. Water begins pooling across the area within minutes, while visibility and movement become more restricted. The build is abandoned entirely. At this point, survival takes priority over the project itself.
Wet right now.
Yep. It's dope, man. Oh my god. Yo, il annonçait même pas de pluie en plus.
Just see.
Bushcraft gone wrong.
We're absolutely not safe here.
Then comes the realization. They openly acknowledge they are no longer safe staying in place. That's the full shift from weather delay to active danger. This one is defined by speed, heat, then thunder, then structural strain and flooding. There's no gradual escalation. Conditions shift faster than they can properly adapt to them. And that's what makes it effective, because the danger doesn't come from a single moment. It comes from how quickly the environment stops being predictable. The next shocking video of the night comes from Novice Wild Camper, a UK-based outdoor camping channel focused on solo wild camping, hammock setups, and realistic overnight woodland trips. The content centers around practical camping conditions, gear testing, and low-key survival challenges rather than staged encounters. It is October 29th, 2022, in a woodland campsite, Wales, United Kingdom.
Hello YouTube. I'm out on another wild camp tonight. Going to be hammock camping. I'm in Wales. Yeah. Yeah, good, you? Good, you?
Yeah, good, thanks. What,
Hey?
The trip starts as routine, a short overnight camp fitted between other commitments, with the goal being simplicity rather than challenge. He moves through familiar woodland, returning to a previously used, hidden location. That matters because the environment is already known to him. There's no uncertainty in navigation. The expectation is a controlled, uneventful setup.
I'm going to get some food on. Right, so sitting here chilling out in the hammock, and I've been joined by a couple of yobbos who've come and interrupted my trip. But very kind of them. They've I was thinking about having a fire, and I haven't got anything to really start a fire with, so I'll have to try and improvise with something in the camp.
Then the first interruption. Two strangers arrive at the campsite unexpectedly. The interaction stays friendly, but it changes the dynamic immediately, because the camp is no longer isolated. What was intended as a solo overnight becomes shared space, even temporarily.
Food is on finally. I'm starving. I've also put the fire on. Sounds like a electric stove. I wasn't going to, but I had a slight mishap with my filter and the CNOT bag. So, I don't know if it's the filter jammed.
The conversation settles into bushcraft discussion and fire-starting methods. No tension develops from the interaction itself, and eventually the visitors leave. But the interruption breaks the original rhythm of the camp.
The hammock was very comfortable. I was very, very warm. It wasn't really a cold night last night. Lots of usual odd noises, crackings of bushes in the night and trees and branches snapping, but yeah, it was all right.
Later in the night, the environment changes again. Cracking branches, rustling, and movement are heard deeper in the woodland. Nothing is investigated. Nothing is confirmed. But after the earlier setbacks, the sounds carry more weight than they otherwise would. This one is defined by disruption rather than escalation. A controlled setup, then interruption, then equipment failure, then uncertainty, returning through the environment at night. Nothing develops into direct danger. but the conditions gradually become harder to manage. And that's what defines it. Not a single major event, but multiple small breaks in control stacking across the night. The next video comes from Exploring with Bear, a US-based solo wilderness camping channel focused on deep woods overnight survival in remote locations. The content blends real-time camping with cryptid folklore themes, using raw handheld filming and night audio reactions during isolated forest stays. It is April 6th, 2026 in the Smoky Mountains, United States.
That was a knock. That sounded like a knock. That was another knock. Shh. No frickin' way, man.
The interaction starts early. He calls outward into the forest and receives knocking sounds back almost immediately. That's the first shift, because the response appears directional rather than random, coming from different areas within the trees.
It's bigger than I thought it was. That was decently big. That just stepped and broke a twig. It's somewhere down in that thicket of mess. Oh my goodness. What if I already come up on a bear? Or Bigfoot, a wood booger. That was a big snip bridge. I just heard it move again. What?
He repeats the vocal calls into the forest. Again, knocks return from the hillside. That repetition matters, because once the same pattern happens more than once, the activity starts feeling responsive rather than isolated.
And it just started raining. And I'm deep in the Smoky Appalachian Mountains on an abandoned road. Oh boy. Let me get my bag in the tube. Damn, man.
The atmosphere escalates further with whistles echoing through the mountains. Then, a deep growl follows from below the ridge line. The timing becomes the key detail, because the sound occurs shortly after he reacts to the environment.
No frickin' way. Oh, there it was. It said it again. Oh. No way, man. No frickin' way. Did you hear that? These mountains are ridiculous. That said help. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, this is so spooky, man. Alright, so this is what I want. I want you guys that have knowledge and experience of Appalachia to comment what kind of crazy experience.
Then the situation changes completely. A voice-like sound calling "help" is heard from deeper in the forest below. No source is visible, no movement is confirmed, but the sound stands apart from the earlier activity because it resembles direct speech rather than environmental noise.
It's scratching. It's scratching. It's scratching the ground. Oh no, no frickin' way, man. That was a growl. It just growled. It's growling.
The proximity peaks near the tent. Scratching is heard directly outside, followed by a loud growl beside the tent wall itself. That removes distance entirely. Whatever is making the noise is now positioned immediately outside the shelter. Then physical contact occurs. Something strikes or impacts the tent from outside. The reaction is immediate, because at that point, the encounter shifts from sound within the environment to interaction with the camp itself. This one is driven by progression in proximity. Distant knocks, then movement, then vocal sounds, then direct contact near the tent. Nothing is visually confirmed throughout the night. Every escalation comes through sound, timing, and perceived positioning within the forest. And that's what makes it effective. Because the situation never resolves into identification, only increasing closeness. By morning, the environment returns to silence completely, leaving the entire encounter dependent on what was heard rather than what was seen. Before we get into the next clip, around 70% of people watching aren't subscribed. We're working toward 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And if you're enjoying the video, hitting subscribe really does help. All right, let's get back to it. The last video of the night comes from Fell Wanderer, a UK-based bushcraft and wild camping channel focused on remote forest camping, shelter building, and practical overnight survival in isolated woodland locations. It is November 15th, 2023, in Harwood Forest, United Kingdom.
Hi guys, back out again, me and Christopher. And we're doing a little bit of exploring, finding a different way into the camp. But to be honest with you, every way in is just difficult. And we've come back to do an overnighter at our favourite spot. Wondering if it's still here. Everything is as we left it. Although Christopher will notice if anything's been moved because...
The trip begins with familiarity rather than uncertainty. They return to an already established woodland camp, treating the location more like a maintained base than a temporary stop. That matters because the environment is expected to be predictable. The only unusual detail mentioned early is the possibility that items may have been disturbed during previous visits. Nothing major, just small signs that the campsite may not have remained untouched while they were away.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to dig out the fire pit, make it a bit more square, get down to the rocks if I can, get rid of all the roots and just get it to the right size, because I've brought a couple of, well, 4 grills. The ones I've been using have been absolutely rubbish. They've just been from disposable barbecues and they've basically been no good. In the past we've just had food rolling off and going at the fire, just no good. So that's my task for the day, or one of my tasks. Even though we're not having a barbecue, it's just one of those jobs that needs doing, and I'm just pottering and I'm enjoying the process. You know, there's no kind of like pressure to get things done.
Focus shifts fully into maintenance. The fire pit is rebuilt, stones are repositioned, and cooking systems are upgraded for stability and efficiency. At the same time, additional camp structures are reinforced around the shelter area. Everything remains controlled and practical at this stage. The environment is background rather than threat.
Yeah, I think it might be a lot bigger unless it's a baby Bigfoot. It's a lot smaller than my foot, put that way. This is an area where we usually come in, or we sometimes come in. So it's quite possible that it could be a boot, like just one of us has stood there at some point. This is a very dangerous part of the forest. There's literally...
Then the environment changes directly. Rain moves in quickly, followed by a thunderstorm across the forest. The focus shifts away from bushcraft improvements and toward weather management instead. Shelter adjustments, equipment movement, and water control become the priority. That's the key transition. This one is defined more by atmosphere than escalation. Camp maintenance, minor uncertainty. Then environmental pressure through the storm. Nothing develops into a confirmed encounter. Even the footprint is never treated as evidence, only as a brief break in certainty before being rationalized again. And that's what keeps it grounded. Because instead of building towards something unexplained, the video stays focused on how quickly natural conditions can change the feel of an otherwise familiar environment. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these 6 spine-tingling encounters, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more chilling and terrifying videos. There's always another mystery waiting to be uncovered, and you won't want to miss what's next. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next video.